So the new Transformers comics have given Starscream a mother. You might be wondering what that means. No, Starscream was not born from anyone just like the other robots. He was still created by his planet. Firstly, we are talking about the series by IDW that began in 2019, so this universe is separate from the one with More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light. In this new series, young bots come out of the Well of Allsparks and there is a big ceremony. Then, the new bot is adopted by an older one. They call this adult figure a mentor, so mother and father are not the words used, but this is the role they have. They house and raise the young bot, encourage and discipline them, and are shown to give them affection. It is not unusual to have a mother figure when in this Transformers series, equal representation is given to the male and female characters. You may be surprised to hear that Optimus and Megatron both have mothers as well. Optimus's mother is Codexa, and Megatron's mom is actually a main character in the series. Her name is Termagax, and she started the movement that eventually became the Decepticon cause. Termagax had taught her son some ideals, but then she left to be in isolation for a while, only to come back and see Megatron has gone extreme. And now, Megatron won't listen when she says stop. Starscream's mom is first introduced in the Halloween special, and that's what we'll be looking at today. The comic issue is called I Have No Mouth and I Must Starscream, which is part of the 5th Transformers volume. The cover might confuse you, with like Starscream's face merging into an ape thing. Let's see what happens and who Starscream's mother is. The Decepticons have taken Icon and vowed to protect the people and aliens on Cybertron. It is important to note that unlike previous continuities, Cybertronians are very hospitable to organic life forms and they let alien refugees permanently live on their planet. The Voin is one species, but Starscream seems to find them disgusting. Starscream goes to eavesdrop on Megatron listening to Six Shot. Starscream hopes to lead the hunting party to hunt down Autobots, and that is what Megatron tells Six Shot he will do. Six Shot questions the idea, questions Starscream's loyalty. He doesn't think Starscream is loyal to the cause, but either to himself or to the planet Cybertron on whole. Megatron asks Six Shot if he has heard of Starscream's mentor, his mom, Cryak. Cryak loved Cybertron very strongly and loved to explore its most remote places, and when Starscream was very young, she took him with her sometimes. As Megatron describes this, Starscream's face scrunches with what looks like anger. Six Shot asks if Cryak died, but Megatron explains she went emersent. This is a phenomenon in this series where a Transformer chooses to lie down and slowly be absorbed into the planet. Six Shot believes that if Starscream loves Cybertron as much as his mentor did, his passion might not be directed in the right place. Megatron chooses Soundwave instead for the hunting party, and Starscream hits the wall in rage and leaves before they see what the sound was. The question, what is Starscream really like, will follow us for the story. Narration in a red box tells us that betrayal burns in Starscream's spark, shame too, but Starscream does not want to think about his feelings. He wants to scheme and destroy his enemies, for that is what Starscream is like. And then, 2 Decepticons race on scene. They are runabout and run amok. Funnily enough, Decepticons who appeared in one of the Starscream Ghost episodes of G1. Nice little reference, same as their story. They gasp out in terror that the old myth is true, and Starscream demands to know which myth they are talking about. They say it's the ghost in the waste that howls as a disembodied spark looking for a body to possess. Starscream is frustrated that they summarized the myth, claiming that he knows more about Cybertron than any of them. Starscream's now pissed, thinking that the Autobots might be using the old myth as a cloak to scare bots away from their position. Instead of telling Megatron, Starscream decides he will explore the myth himself. He tells him that his mom Cryak used to take him there all the time, and he can navigate the waste better than any living Cybertronian. The narration continues to explain that the planet Cybertron is the smelted body of Primus, who created every Transformer. In some places, cities were built, but other areas are too rugged and must be explored on foot. The narration says, but since I passed on, he has not been here at all. And also, he cannot fail to think of me, of course, as he traverses the hills. After all, he knows the wastes are where I returned myself to the land. This is when it is revealed that the story was being told by Cryak herself, Cryak the Dead. Cryak talks more about her kids, saying that Starscream can't help but reflect on why he hasn't come here for so long, but Starscream doesn't like to examine his own actions, it makes him uncomfortable. But Starscream wonders if the people of Icon are right about him. Starscream wonders if he still pauses to examine the beauty of the area, or if he's only hoping that this mission will make him look good to Megatron. Is he selfish, or does he love Cybertron? Starscream hears the haunting screams and pulls out a knife in case it's a group of Autobots. He instead finds a loose slave animal from one of the aliens living on Cybertron. It is a green ape with a cord attached to his head. Normally, these apes are attached to the alien controlling them. Starscream lowers the knife and chastises the creature that is tangled in the wires at the ground. He wonders how it's been eating out here, but then he wonders if it has been siphoning out energon, and that can't be allowed to continue. Starscream goes to cut one of the wires connecting the animal to the planet, possibly to free it, but when he touches the wire, he is overwhelmed by energy. Starscream's spark is teleported into the ape, and he wakes and sees his own collapsed body. He is horrified by his fleshiness, his lips, teeth, eyes, and fragile body. He can feel the ape's mind in his head as well. Starscream tries to calm down and realize what has happened. It's hard when he's experiencing adrenaline and his thumping heart. So he tries to focus on himself until he can feel himself, a spark in the body. Starscream tries to move throughout the body, his spark following the electrical charges of the sodium, potassium, and more. Then Starscream hears the narrator at last telling him he is going the wrong way, and he asks who is in there with him. The voice suggests that Starscream visualize a form for himself. Starscream appears, and then Cryak, his mother. She is a large and purple bot with big wheels and yellow eyes. However, she has not tried to visualize herself in a while, and she looks corrupt with organic muscle, an organic bloodshot eye, and ape teeth. Starscream is in shock and thinks he is hallucinating, but Cryak feels that it is fitting that Starscream would find her, for who else wandered the wastes? Cryak was injured in a leadfall accident, and she took it as a sign that her days of wandering were over. Cryak found a spot in the waste to lie down and to rejoin Cybertron. Cables of the waste began to absorb her spark until a loose starving animal wandered into the area and nibbled on one of the cords. When it bit into it, her spark flowed into the creature, and her spark has been trapped ever since. The ape cannot leave, but neither of them can die, so Cryak has made the ape howl for help ever since. But now, Cryak realizes through Starscream's memories that her screams had only scared help away. Starscream asks Cryak if she can help him find the way to his body because it is still connected to the ape. Cryak says she can find it, and Starscream is relieved because then he can return to his body and help her get a new body or return to the planet, whatever she likes. But then, Cryak turns to him and says that no, she's going to take her own son's body for herself. Starscream makes a more horrified reaction as Cryak rambles. She says that she's been stuck in the organic for so long that it was a mistake for Cybertronians to ever take a similar bipedal form. It's disgusting, and Cybertronians should only be metal and spark. She's going to possess Starscream's body and kill as many people as she can to free them from the misery and horror of legs, arms, eyes, and noses. Starscream flinches and says that she is talking about genocide, and he won't allow it. Cryak replies that she was his mentor, and when has genocide or such concepts ever bothered him? Starscream growls that everyone is convinced they know him so well. He fires at Cryak, though he's just a spark, and one spark fights another within the ape. They're just jolts of energy in a bloodstream, and Starscream chases Cryak throughout the body. Unfortunately for her, she is not as battle-trained, and Starscream is. He catches her before she reaches his body, taking her down and proceeding on to reclaim himself. Starscream stands in happy relief and looks back at the ape, seeing his mother in its eyes. The ape cannot speak, but Starscream speaks to the ape anyway, knowing that Cryak can hear him. Starscream points his blaster, saying that he could incinerate the animal and her spark if he wanted. The animal cowers. Starscream lowers his blaster and says that he could also remove the cable and help her return to the planet as she originally wished. But then, Starscream says that the myth of the disembodied spark is a part of Cybertron. He turns his back, leaving her in her predicament, because he will not rob Cybertron of one of its myths. Cryak realizes just how obsessed Starscream truly is about Cybertron, and Starscream will never return or tell anyone what he found, and so she screams and screams as Starscream walks away. Now let's discuss this ending. It seems like a surprisingly cruel ending, but maybe there is more to it. Let's have a look at the previous scenes and examine Starscream's relationship with his mother. It did not seem like Cryak had ever mistreated Starscream before. She took him on trips, though it says only some of them. If Cryak was away for long periods of time, then she may have been a bit neglectful to Starscream, but not unloving. Starscream doesn't seem to like Megatron talking about her, for Starscream's face pops up furious in the middle of his dialogue. But whether Starscream loves his mentor or not may be up to debate. Starscream's anger might have come from something else. Nevertheless, Starscream never visited Cryak's body as it was slowly being absorbed, but that is not the case of Optimus. Optimus's mom, Codexa, is currently undergoing the process, but he still loves her. It does not seem like he wants Codexa to go. I doubt Starscream could have convinced Cryak to not leave, because she seemed religiously sure that it was her time to go. Still, Starscream didn't go near her, and thinking about Cryak makes him uncomfortable in the wilderness. This is the only comic with the character Cryak, and you can only wonder about the depth of Starscream's feelings toward her. I don't believe he showed any vengeful behavior toward her. He was not malicious when he met her again. First, he was very surprised, and then apologetic because he didn't want her to suffer this fate. Starscream's first priority was getting back to his body and then helping her break free. He does offer her the choice to come back in a new body instead of becoming absorbed into the planet. As it's his first offer, maybe part of him does want his mom back. Why else would Starscream first propose a new body for her? But then Cryak wants to doom Starscream to her fate and commit genocide using his body. He claims he won't allow it, and then he gets upset when Cryak assumes to know him. That is when he attacks, and when he gets back to his body, he leaves her to a horrible fate. Was Starscream maybe lying then, when he offered to help her? Because of his facial expressions he had been showing, I think Starscream was genuine. For that moment, I believe his mom mattered more than Cybertron's culture to him. There is some evidence that he is cold and oddly obsessed about Cybertron, of course. Starscream cares about being known as the person who loves Cybertron more than any. He snapped at Runabout and Run Amok because they assumed he didn't know one of Cybertron's myths. The narration of the story may not be reliable in the end. Maybe Starscream did not leave Cryak like this just for the sake of preserving a myth. Perhaps Starscream didn't want to destroy his mom's soul by shooting the ape, and maybe he didn't want to save her because she would kill people if freed. So he didn't trust her or want to deal with her, and then he might have considered for the first time that he could just leave her. So he wouldn't have been lying before. Technically, Cryak could still be saved by someone else, but Starscream doesn't want a part in it. Does Starscream even see his mom in her anymore? While he left his mom to a cruel fate, she isn't someone who loves him anymore. She wanted to take his body, make him commit crimes. She was going to leave him to her fate. Cryak didn't even know him, and that upset Starscream. And a long time ago, Cryak left him. That may have been very difficult for Starscream, and the reason he did not visit her body. I believe that the loss of Cryak was very upsetting to him, that Starscream didn't find her neglectful, and he once loved her very much. Her choice to die could have come across as she didn't care what his feelings were, or that her loss would hurt him. As cruel as it is to say the sentence, Starscream abandoned his mother to her fate, I can't blame Starscream for feeling nothing for her anymore. His love of Cybertron is the only thing he has left from his childhood. And yeah, that's the story of how Starscream betrayed his mother after she betrayed him.